Welcome back. The American Jewish Committee has just released its annual State of Antisemitism in America report, which reveals some very disturbing findings into one of the most violent years against American Jews in recent history. Here to tell us more about it, the CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutch. Ted, good to see you this morning, although you bring with you some worrisome news. So give us just a sense here. It's more than just anecdotal. The numbers are there. Give us a sense of what this last year or so has been like.
Well, you're right. It's much more than anecdotal. The data is clear that fear in the Jewish community has become normalized. Over 90% of the Jewish community in America feels less safe here. Nearly 60% of the community has changed the way they live their lives, consciously making decisions about where to go, what to wear, what to say, what to post online out of fear of anti-Semitism. And when fear is normalized for any group, then that suggests there are much deeper problems because it affects society as a whole. That's why these numbers matter. And they're not just data points. They're the lived experiences of people that you know, people in your community, your coworkers, the people who surround us. That's what we want people to understand. This is really something that affects all of us.
And we're showing some of these worrisome statistics on the screen. And Ted, you wrote in a recent op-ed in the New York Post about the AJC's report, which reads in part this way: I'm not advocating for special attention or treatment for my community. I'm calling for, rather, the same care, awareness, and collective outrage we would rightly see if these daily assaults were being made against members of any other religious or ethnic group in the United States. No American should need a security perimeter to pray. No American should be afraid to leave their home or visit a cultural center of their choosing. A threat this severe against any community destroys the bonds of trust that make the United States possible and leaves us all worse off. And Mike, to that point, you know, certainly a rise since the events of October 7th, 2023, an explosion. And, you know, in New York, you know, we see it all the time, the security outside synagogues and temples. And friends of ours who say it's the culture of fear.
There is that out there. There's no doubt about it. And Ted, I'm wondering, in terms of putting a finger on a cause of the rise in anti-Semitism, I don't think there's any one cause, but do you think that the level of anger that seems to be out there in our culture over the last 5 or 6 or 10 years, or however you want to measure it, but there's a real sense of more anger out there and frustration in people's lives. How does that add to it, do you think?
Well, you're right, and there's greater polarization, and people split into camps, and they're angry and attack one another. That's all true. There has also been this rise, this dramatic rise in far-right extremism that spews conspiracy theories about the Jewish community, and this radicalized anti-Israel rhetoric that has real-world implications. When you look at what happened over the past year, the attack on the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, the 2 young people who were killed in Washington, D.C. outside of an AJC event, the attack, the firebombing and murder in Boulder, Colorado, in every instance, there were some comments made by the murderer, by the attackers, about doing it for Palestine or about killing all Zionists. This kind of radicalized hate has increased dramatically, and we have to be willing to tackle all of this in a broader societal context. I just want to make one other point, because it's true in the real world. That's what this is about. But it often starts online. Nearly 3/4 of American Jews experience anti-Semitism online. And social media companies have real responsibility here. If they don't just post content, they shape it, and the algorithms decide who sees it. And with that power comes responsibility. They all have community standards that prevent the kind of awful, vicious rhetoric that winds up affecting Jews online and then in the real world, and that can often lead to murder and death. And we just expect them to enforce their own rules against anti-Semitism and racism and the kind of hate that leads to the division, Mike, that you talked about.
And your survey points out real fears about anti-Semitism being spread even by AI chatbots and the like. So it's all behind computer screens in many ways. The full report, should read it, is available online now at ajc.org. CEO of the American Jewish Committee, Ted Deutch. Ted, thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.